Hello, lovely people. I'm back again to haunt your dreams. Today, I'm going to show you a quick video on bias binding and then a little bit of piping. Because who doesn't love a bit of piping? Anyway, I've decided to have an orange thread on the top today so that you can see the stitching more clearly when I'm sewing. I haven't changed the bottom because that would involve me getting the bobbin out and putting thread on, and I think we've already established that I am lazy, so I didn't do that. Also, you don't see the bottom. The top is the most important. Today we have got orange. Next time might be a different colour. I'll surprise you. Also, look, no more bright blue. Yay! My daughter actually got me this nail varnish for Christmas. She chose it. I wasn't sure. Now, it turns out that I actually like this grey-green colour. And so do other people. So she clearly has better taste than me, which isn't hard. Anyway, so bias binding, first of all. For those of you who don't know what bias binding is, it's when you cut a piece or a strip out of your fabric on the cross of the fabric. So going diagonally across the fabric, because diagonally you have a good stretch there. If it's not a stretch fabric, it generally won't stretch across. This one's a little bit stretchy across that way, but not really that way. It's just got an average stretch. Don't know what that means. So this one is very stretchy. It's so that when you are going around corners, if you're just using the binding, it will go around the corner nicely without bunching up. And the same with piping as well, because you generally go around corners with piping. For example, making a cushion cover or any kind of cover, really. I can't really think of anything else. Sometimes people put some like tiny piping in clothes. It just allows you to go around bends without it looking rubbish. So that's why it's cut on the cross, to give you a little bit of stretch. So, first of all, I'm going to cut two pieces, because then I can show you also how to join them. I know a lot of you had difficulties doing that, so I will first of all do a 2.5 centimetre strip followed by a 5 centimetre strip, because obviously this is cut on the fold, so when it's opened up it will be a 5 centimetre strip. So, very difficult to see where the numbers are on this shiny ruler. And then 5. Gonna get my rubbish scissors out in a minute. Oh, that was noisy. Sorry. Obviously, I'm doing this on the back of the fabric. For obvious reasons. Right, crappy scissors coming up. Yesterday, my daughter made a rat hammock. Oh my god, these scissors are so bad. Now I have fleece stuff all over my scissors. But the rats are happy. Yay! They've got a nice big hammock now. Okay, next time I do cutting on here, I'm going to get my other scissors that actually work. Okay, ow. My wrist hurts now. Okay, so now we've got like 3 pieces of bias binding. So, to join them, all you have to do is put these scissors out of the way. You don't need to do that. I have to do that. Basically join them at right angles. It doesn't matter the end of the shape of the end, because it could be any shape. You just go past it. So you can do it like that. Or if you wanted to follow this, you could put that on there. But you're going to have to cut it basically across, like, a 45-degree angle. But I'll use this other bit to demonstrate what I'm trying to say. Okay. If I line up the 2 points like so, and then I stitch along here, doop-de-doo, like that, and then I just sew it along that line. What happens is, when you open it up, they are not aligned. You see? You can't see, it's flat. See that? They wouldn't be aligned. So you have to make sure that where you're stitching here and here, that this bit meets the end, and that this bit comes up to meet this line. I will show you. So, God, it's so difficult to look in there and look at what I'm doing at the same time. How do people do it? There. Can you see? So where the stitch line will be is where you want the edges to meet. Not here and here, there and there. If that makes any sense at all. It's then, when I stitch it, I'll just pin it so you can have a quick look. Come here, pin. When you then open it up, it's still not aligned. I obviously didn't do it enough. See, this is why you have to maybe pin them first to check that it's in the right place. So I need to move it up a little bit more. Still keep the edges matched. This fabric, if it didn't smell so bad, would make a nice little summer dress. Little A-line one. Such a shame. Anyway, so now, look. Can you see it actually lines up if I poke this little bit out the way? Yeah, see it lines up now. And the bottom doesn't quite line up, but that's probably because they're not exactly the same size strips. But that doesn't really matter because you can just trim this one to fit the other one. But if you're doing a bias binding, you just fold it out of the way, and piping, most of that would get cut off. So I'm also going to show you on the other piece, when you've got an uneven end, that doesn't matter at all. Just put that on, and again, just make sure that where your stitch line is is where it meets the fabric on the ends. Okay, so I'll pin it again. It just needs to go at a 90-degree angle. Oh God, it's so difficult to pin it. It's not difficult to pin it, it's difficult to pin it while I'm trying to show you guys. So I hate pins. They've been stabbing me since I was 13. We have a love-hate relationship, mostly a hate. See? There you go. So it's just got to go on a 90 degrees, like that. I'm going to sew these two pieces together. Look at that, bright orange stitching. It's a good job I don't have my blue nails because it might have been too much for you. It would have been too much for me. Right, and then I'm just going to trim with my scissors, if I can find them, along here. Get out of the way, piece of rubbish. And pencil and scissors. And then that's your seam done. And then you just open up the seam on the inside. And then you have your bias binding strip. Now, what you would do if you were actually making bias binding, you could get a bias binding tool thing. I've got one of those somewhere, but I haven't got it. If you don't have one, all I do is fold it in half, press it with an iron, preferably, open it up, and then press the outside edges into the middle to meet the line you have just created. So they would go into the middle like that, and then you would fold it over, and that creates your bias binding. And whatever you're binding goes inside there. Maybe I should show you that. I'll do that another time. We're going to do piping today. I can show you that with the other piece actually. I'll do that in a minute. So, if I'd been organised, I would have done this before. Oh, sorry. Change the foot. I keep doing this German thing and I don't know why. Something wrong with me. Wrong screwdriver. Putting a zipper foot on. If you've got a domestic machine, you might actually have a piping foot. It has like a little groove underneath it for the piping to go through. If you don't, just use a zipper foot. I magically have some piping here. You just wrap the binding around the piping, meeting the edges under the foot. Can you see? Do I need to go in closer? Whoosh. Okay, I'm not the whole screen. Professionalism. Okay. And just stitch close to the piping, not too close because when you attach it to wherever you're going to attach it to, you don't want to see this stitching, especially if you're doing it in bright orange. Yeah, don't do it in bright orange unless you are sewing bright orange fabric. In that case, probably a good idea. So I'm not going to go right up next to it. Just stitch it. However long your piece of piping is, after you've stitched it, you can then trim and zigzag or overlock the edges if you need to, if you want to. So there's your bit of piping. It's got little horns. I could show you how to join piping, couldn't I? Let's see if I've got a bit of crappy fabric here. Oh, look at that. So pretend like this is big cushion cover over here. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm just going to cut the end off there. And then I'm going to cut this in half. I know, right? All that work for nothing. And then pretend you're stitching this on. Maybe put it the right way around, Leanne. What you want to do is don't start right here. I would say about inch and a half. Inch. Probably get away with an inchish. Inch and a half to an inch, or an inch to an inch and a half. And stitch. And go all the way around if you're going all the way around a cushion cover, whatever it is. And then like just pretend that I've come all the way back around. So I've sewn all the way around the cushion cover and then I'll come back to meet this guy. They meet at last. Oh my god, I keep doing it the wrong way around. What's wrong with me? Okay. Can you see what I'm doing? So I'm just stitching it, and this has got to come longer, and this bit is not stitched down. About an inch and a half I didn't stitch down. So I'm going to come along as if I've been all the way around the pillow, cushion, whatever it is. I'm going to stop about here, which is about sort of an inch away from this end of the piping. And then what you need to do is you've got to cut the piping here to get the two piping pieces inside to meet. And in order to do that, it's kind of a bit of guesswork, but also hard to show you. Kind of need to pull this bit back. And then you can see where they meet. And then you cut this piece. So that then they join up like that. Like so. And then with this piece, open up a bit more. want to fold the end back on itself. I need to cut some more away so I can do that. Snippity snip. So fold the end back on itself. By the way, this is my way of doing it. There's probably plenty of other ways of doing it that other people do, and you can do it however you like. Then we place this one inside, cover them up. And then continue stitching. There you have your drawing, Lucy. It's alright. So you can feel there's a little tiny gap here where the piping's obviously separated a bit, but if it was the bottom of the cushion cover where the zip is, you're not really going to see that unless you have some guests come round to your house, or mates, and they go, oh, where's the end deep? Oh, I found it, that's a bit of a gap. Hopefully they won't do that. But you can always just cut it a bit longer if you can preempt the gap appearing. Anyway, that is the join of the piping. Well done if you did that with me. If not, good luck, and you can always re-watch the video. Okay. Bye bye.